This is my third time making this video. I'm making a training video on how to clean the grinder. Hopefully I can successfully do this one. I keep accidentally stopping the video. So, okay, learning how to clean grinders. Nate, this one's for you. Sorry it took me so long. Moving on, you want to pre-grind espresso, especially if you're doing this in the middle of the day. I'm doing this in the middle of the day while I have time, so I may or may not have to pause the video if I get customers in. I just finished my morning and mid-shift list, so this is what I want to do with my time. So pre-ground espresso so that while I'm cleaning our grinder, I still have espresso to clean with. So step number one is going to be unplugging the grinder from under this area. Figure out which cord it is, and I can show you guys. It's this one. Okay, so here, I'll show you that. This is where I'm unplugging the grinder from. Okay, so it needs to be off. Make sure you're checking that when you have it turned off. Okay, so if I'm hitting the button, it's not turning on. That's important. The grinder turns on while you're cleaning it. That grinder is really dangerous. You don't want your hands anywhere near that when that happens, when and if that happens, so don't let that happen. Make sure you're unplugging the grinder if you're cleaning it. That's step number one, unplug the grinder. Okay, step number two is I am going to put a stopper on our little casket here that's holding the beans. So I pull this little thing out. It says close, so that closes the casket. It keeps all of your beans from coming out. I've already done this, so once you've closed that casket, it'll stop your beans from falling out, so you use that slide thing. And I dumped it all into a bucket, and I cleaned it out. So this has already been washed. I used soap, water, and a scrub brush. That soap should be good enough to take all the coffee oil out of the inside of that. I might have to clean it again. There's still some stuff in there. It's been 3 months since I last cleaned this, so, and this should be done on a monthly basis realistically, because coffee oil gets really grimy really quickly. So your second step, now that your grinder is off and you've cleaned the basket that's holding your beans from the top of it, it's gonna look like this. So this little orange thingy you see up here, you're gonna unscrew that. So you're gonna twist it to the left to unscrew. Here, I'm gonna pause the video and I'll show you when it's done. Okay, so I took that little orange thing off. It'll look like this. So you see that little screw in the top. I unscrewed that. So it should look like this. I also emptied all of the stuff that was out in here. So you'll see all of this really gross, like coffee oil stuff coming off. That's the part that really needs to get cleaned. Before I start cleaning that though, I'm gonna undo these little screws that you see on the top here. So there's gonna be screws on that. I'm gonna set you down, pause again, so that I can kind of speed this video up to make it as fast for you guys as possible. This realistically is like a 30 to 45 minute process. So if you're gonna do this, make sure you have 30 to 45 minutes set aside to do it. Here, I'm gonna pause the video. Okay, so I undid those screws. I'm putting them in here. You don't wanna lose any parts to this grinder. If you're cleaning it, any screws that you unscrew, any little pieces you take off, you need to make sure you have in your sight. Do not lose any pieces to this grinder. Grinders are expensive, so don't lose parts. So now that those screws are unscrewed, this little plate thingy will come off of it, that little plate thingy, and then this whole thing that looks like a gear will just screw out of it. So I'm going to unscrew it. I'm going to set you guys down. You can kind of see from the side here. Sorry, I'm keeping an eye out for customers at the same time. Whew. Yeah, so you got this whole big gear thingy. You're going to take your flat-headed screwdriver and clean that out. I'm just going to put that into the dump box. There's like a ton of coffee oil in here. I'm not sure if it's going to be really good to see on camera, but you can see all that coffee oil. You really want to wash this out. I'm probably going to soap and water it too. But yeah, so that bottom part that you see, that's where the bean gets ground on. So there's here, and I'll use my phone to show you the inside of it too. It's grinding against that other like sharp grindy thing that you see. So the inside of that is also going to get cleaned out. I'm going to use this screwdriver to kind of scrape everything out of here as well. Jeez, there's a lot of coffee oil in there. Yeah, so I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna clean all that out, and then I'll pause the video for now while I do that. Okay, so I've cleaned this out. You can see how different that is because that was all black. You couldn't see that before. That's gold now. I washed it out with some water and a scrub brush, and I took the flat-headed screwdriver along the edges to get all that coffee oil out. And then for the inside of this one, I took like a little brush. I don't know if that's, can you see that? You probably can't see that very well. I took like a brush, did this sort of thing. I'm probably going to take a wet rag, just plain water, and rinse it out as well. And then take a screwdriver and take these other little screws out to take that piece out. So I'll show you that in a minute. Lift this up. It's all dumped out. I'm going to go grab a wet rag, so I'm going to pause this real quick.